live. Welcome back to another episode of Hold Flip Dump. My name is Robin.
Hello, my name is Alex.
And we are your hosts today. Every week we pick 3 tokens, we hold one, we flip one, and we dump one. And this week we are going back in time to look at the last 3 tokens that we held, which are, see if I can find the tab, yes, which are Helium, which is the decentralized network for sharing internet, which we talked about last episode. We decided to hold it. 2 weeks ago we held Hedera, which is a layer 1, I believe. I don't remember a huge amount of detail about Hedera. It's amazing how quickly the crypto world moves. But we held that one. And then finally Pax Gold, which is a real world asset on the blockchain, a proxy for gold. They hold reserves, you get tokens, similar to other kind of real world assets available. So we're going to go back and talk about these decisions and whether or not they would have paid off. And we're also going to look at some charts to see how well those investments would have compared to the overall crypto price movements. Do you want to talk about that first, Alex, or should we talk about the news from this week?
Let's start with the news, because there's a few shocking things that have happened. We'll start with the world of meme coins, or actually shit coins. So let's start with, would you let your mum show her boobs online just for money? This is what a teenager did a few weeks ago. And it's actually quite shocking, to be honest. So a child went online on a popular streaming platform called Kicks, and we'll leave the link below. But in short, this child was sharing a set of milestones to reach on market cap for a token that he created, and by the end of it, his mother would show her boobs. There were outrageous things like, he would pour milk on his mother's boobs, and the woman was like, he used to drink milk from here, now watch him pour milk on, so quite shocking. Anyways, cut long story short, by the end of it, stopped the streamed, rug pulled the token, run away with all the money, and just made the news as probably the weirdest rug pull in a long time. What do you think of this, Robin?
This is a great example of why we can't have the nice things. People wonder why crypto has a bad name. This is the perfect example of why crypto has a bad name. There are just so many things wrong with this. I don't even know where to start. Hopefully this doesn't define this bull run. Let's hope this is the last time this happens. But yeah, I don't think that this does any favors for the crypto industry at all. It makes a good headline. That's for sure.
Yeah. So as you can see here on the comment, it reached $500,000 in market cap, and then rugged. So
wow.
There you have it.
That's what we've been doing wrong all this time. We've been streaming crypto news and tokens, and we could have rugged with $500,000 worth of gains. Next time.
I'm not asking my mum. I'm sorry. So
we're going to need to find someone else.
It's going to be a very difficult conversation. Anyways, so moving on. This is a bit more recent. So new ChatGPT update, incredible demo. And most interesting part is could this be the end of customer service as we know it? Super interesting. If you watch the demo, we'll leave the link. You see how this gentleman is having a really detailed and accurate conversation with the bot, and the language model now is able to identify what's on the background, be able to process it almost in real time, and it really looks like it makes it feel like you're talking to somebody else on the other side of the screen. First thing that jumped first thing that caught my attention was, this could easily be implemented on customer service, on anything to do with the services industry, really, and how quickly we could start seeing a move towards automated systems like this. What do you think?
Yeah, I think you're right. Call centers right now are probably, or call center employees are probably very nervous. If you work in customer service at all, this is a very stark warning sign that your number is up. At least there's going to be huge layoffs, I think, because customer call centers are going to cut down the number of agents they employ. Why employ 100 humans when you can employ 5 humans and 1 AI? So this is going to be big. I think one of the underrated announcements or one of the parts of the announcement that was underrated is the fact that the latency has just dropped significantly. I'm sure that they were using like ultra high bandwidth connections. I'm sure they were like literally meters from the data center, or they optimized the hell out of this. But still, if you compare that to what we've had up until now, which is sometimes multi-second delays, this is a huge step forward. It feels almost natural. It feels like you're talking to a human. And that's way better than what we've seen so far. So I think this is a massive step forwards. And as soon as we get our hands on it, there's going to be a big change. I mean, just imagine it for now, like we're on Google Meets and Zoom meetings, and you've got your AI note taker on the line as well. Pretty soon we're going to have a AI agent that you can ask questions, that can participate in discussions, that can do so much more than note taking. So this is going to change a lot of things, and hopefully in the not too distant future we'll have a AI agent on this live stream telling us about information about the tokens we're looking at. So in most human interactions, I think in the future we'll see AI being a part of that as well. Probably too much at some point. We're all going to get annoyed by how many AIs join the call whenever you do, and how they keep like interjecting or giving us facts that we didn't want. But it'll be a learning curve for sure.
Yeah, excellent. So that's the news on my side. Anything from your side, or should we jump on straight to review the token?
I think let's jump onto the token. The only thing I was going to mention briefly was the Tokel crypto market cap. It's good to have a little look at this. Over the last 14 days, 2 weeks, we've been mostly flat, and the same for the last month. So this bull run, just to take the temperature, is cool, I would say. Not really doing much at the moment. We can see we hit those all-time highs, those Bitcoin all-time highs, which obviously correspond with the total market cap, but it's cooled significantly in the last few weeks. And actually, it might be worth mentioning at this point the meme stock rise. Which one is it? AMC, not AMC, the other one.
GameStop.
Yeah, GameStop has been in the news lately. Let's have a look. Here we go. It's a BBC News article. Shares in meme stock GameStop mount a return. So this is maybe the meme coin mania transferring over to the stock markets. We've seen like over 100% rise in the last few days for GameStop. Let's see if we can find a stock chart. So if we look for the last 5 days, look at that. We were on $17 on Friday, and it's peaked at 67 on Tuesday, which is today. It's cooled off a little bit since then, but we're seeing massive gains for GameStop, which was I think they made a movie about it. The kind of the retail investors taking over. So maybe this is a start of meme coin frenzy moving over to TradFi. Who knows? But yeah, right now market cap for crypto is not looking good. I don't think it's the end of the bull market, but I think the first phase is probably over, and we'll see what happens afterwards. But moving on to sorry, go on.
So on GameStop actually is Roaring Kitty tweeted for the first time in a few years, and literally just a picture. That's all that was tweeted, and it was brought things back with that, right? So it really tells you how much power retail investors can actually have when it comes to lower market cap stocks, coins, etc. So it's really, really interesting. We really don't know what that means. We don't know whether Roaring Kitty is going to start pumping, the stock again. There's been a lot of conversation in the crypto echo chamber trying to lure Roaring Kitty to talk about meme coins, really. So, could be an interesting thing to see, and just what the ramifications of this is going to be. Is Roaring Kitty going to come back and pump certain stocks, or is it just a one-off because had some spare GameStop shares and needed a bit of a pump so you can cash out? Who knows? Just speculation, but it's really interesting the effect that social media can have in terms of pumping the price of certain assets.
Yeah, it certainly is. I wonder if there's going to be any other meme stocks this cycle, because things have changed quite a lot since then. AMC and GameStop, I think, have new owners, or they've definitely got new leadership. Or maybe CryptoKitty. What's her name? No, what's the name of the?
Roaring Kitty.
Roaring Kitty. Maybe they have some information that we don't, or maybe it's all just hype. I wouldn't be surprised. But like I said earlier, we're going to talk through the 3 tokens that we've held in previous episodes, and just check on the price action and see whether it was the right decision. Last week it was Helium, and in the last 7 days it's been down a little bit. We're sitting at $4.74, which is down from roughly $5.20 at the start of the week. So not a huge benefit yet, but obviously we're looking more long term for that. And then Hedera, which is the one we reviewed 2 weeks ago. Let's see, it's pretty flat, I think, in the last couple of weeks. We talked about that big spike, I think, when we reviewed it, but we've not seen anything since then. And then gold, how has gold been doing? We reviewed this real world asset, RWA, 3 weeks ago, and it's been pretty flat. If we look at 3 months, I think we'll see that this has been overall a pretty steady increase, but in the last few weeks it's been relatively flat. I think your bull case, Alex, for gold was that come rain or shine, gold is going to continue to rise, and it's nowhere near the kind of volatility that we're used to in crypto. Would you still stick by that? Are you still bullish on gold?
Yeah, I think so. Especially seeing how most central banks are just stocking up on gold, and that rate just seems to keep growing. So, if the big asset managers are going for it, then that's telling me something. But yeah, in terms of price action, it doesn't look like the activity has been super attractive on each of these. That doesn't mean that we necessarily made a wrong decision. It would just be about how we're diversifying and what each of these choices meant for our portfolios. So, also to make it clear, none of us invested in these tokens. We haven't got them on our portfolio, so we're not really having any vested interest in their performance. So it's not financial advice, just learning purposes, really. So let's go and see what Helium was about. So decentralized internet, you can buy a physical device and receive internet connection, and also share your spare connection with other people in your local area. And in exchange of that, you end up earning some Helium tokens. There is a interesting index, I think it's called the Web3 index, I think it is, that allows you to track the fees and the usage of each of those, let's say, DPIMs, so decentralized physical infrastructure projects. And we can see that Helium actually is still second on the list. And I think it wasn't second back then. Storj is a storage project, so their fees, still higher than anything else, but still good to see that Helium's still top 3 in terms of that fee consumption. Anything else that I'm missing in terms of summary for Helium?
I'm struggling to remember where I saw this, but Helium has seen increased usage, I think. So I think that's probably behind the increased network stats. Let's see if we can see any details on we've got the price, we've got the current epoch supply staked. So network usage in USD in the last 30 days, it's been actually decreasing slightly. I'd kind of like to see further back, but it seems like I can't change the date. But yeah, I think basically Helium has seen some increased usage, so people are starting to actually take it a bit more seriously. It's been around for a while, but I don't think it's been really in many real world use cases. But now we're starting to see some adoption, so people are starting to invest more, and just DePIN as a concept I think is becoming much more popular. There's lots of infrastructure projects that are rising at the moment, maybe not on the same level as AI or even real world assets, but it's definitely in the top 5, I'd say, crypto narratives right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Excellent. So good to see that people are using Helium. I did try signing up for Helium. I've recently moved to a new flat and I was looking for a good internet provider, but just not great in my area just yet. So, hopefully it will start growing and, better coverage and, just access to the UK, always super keen on trying this kind of thing. So Helium, speed up your process, guys. Would like to use it here.
Yeah, I'm well up for using it.
Now let's go to Hedera. I think I already had the website. So you were wondering whether it was a layer 1 or not. I believe it was. I don't remember what the uniqueness of Hedera was. I do remember that the price jumped, spiked just because there was some misunderstanding on a announcement on social media. But just as it went up, it just dumped almost instantly. So yeah, again, they got this. They're branding themselves as the layer 4 real world asset tokenization. So a big narrative that we've spoken about. But I'm not sure who's using Hedera to tokenize RWAs.
Yeah, that was the question. The big question we had last time, wasn't it? It was this is great, but it's what's the reason for using Hedera versus dropping your RWA on a different, maybe a layer 2 or something that's got a bit more volume. But maybe there is a reason. I think another thing we talked about was, or we have talked about in the past, is validation when it comes to real world assets. So I wonder if Hedera has got anything to do with that side of things. Because like we said before, if the real world assets doesn't exist or is fraudulent, then it's a big problem when it comes to that being stored. There's actually quite a bit of trust involved in RWAs on the blockchain. So maybe Hedera helps with that or helps with some kind of custody solution. I don't know, but we'd need to look into it some more.
This is what I did find out about Hedera after we did our review. And, we already chose it as our token to hold, but this is a very interesting fact, just at the back of what you just said, Robin, which is Hedera transactions are fixed in terms of fees. So it doesn't really matter if there's high consumption on the network or low. It always is, it says here, so immediate settlement for a mere, what is this, like 1/100th of a cent of a dollar? So what that means is that, if the price of HBAR, which is Hedera's native token, if that goes up, you also don't pay more for the transaction. So you always pay that fee as a flat fee, regardless of what happens in the market and with the usage. So I find that really interesting because if you are tokenizing real world assets, if you were doing it on Ethereum and you wanted to, let's say, cash out on profits, you're not able really to predict with accuracy how much it's going to cost you to take the profits. But with this, you know that your transaction fee is flat and everything else will be a profit at the end of it. So I find this really, really interesting. I don't know anything else about the Hedera technology, but this I think is a major selling point for anybody wanting to tokenize real world assets.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think the business model for these RWA companies is quite complex, and they need to have some certainty about the future, and this provides that certainty, I suppose. If you're pricing in transaction fees to your business model, and you want to be able to hold the same assets in 10 years, there's always a worry that network congestion or other factors might suddenly mean that your business model doesn't make sense, and you've got a big problem if prices change. So this could provide that security for companies playing in this space, and maybe that's one of the benefits of using Hedera as opposed to a Ethereum-based blockchain.
Yeah, absolutely. Apart from that, I think that that's one thing that I thought it was important to mention. Anything else, trusted and transparent data. I think that's a standard in blockchain. You want public data, so that makes it transparent already. And then they talk about KYC verification. So again, quite standard for anybody wanting to tokenize real world assets. Other than that, I think that the predictable fees, that flat fee that is always stable, is a major selling point, I think. So yeah, apart from that, I'm not sure who is using Hedera to tokenize. They've got a few examples. Apparently USDC is deployed on Hedera, which is great. I'm not sure about any of these other brands, so it would just require a bit more research. But some people are tokenizing assets on Hedera, so just important to do a bit more research on this. But yeah, token price, like we saw, it hasn't really been great in the past few weeks. Quite flat, but regardless, the market has been quite flat in the past few weeks.
Yeah, I was just seeing if I could find any Hedera stats, but nothing coming up on June Analytics. So yeah, we'll do your own research, and I think one of the first questions I would ask is what is being dropped on Hedera? Is it working? How many people are using it? But in terms of market cap, I think it's pretty substantial, and it does have some serious backing, I seem to remember. Yeah, here we go. Hedera, Boeing, Deutsche Telekom, Google, IBM, LG, some big names there. So it's obviously got some money in the bank and some freedom to experiment and to potentially put some of that into attracting big names and big projects. So maybe I think that's one of the reasons we chose to hold last time. So maybe one to look for in the future.
Yeah. One thing that just came to mind is if the price action is also subject to network fees, okay, and this, whether it's a burn mechanism or whatever it is, it's going to be very hard to fight inflation on the token. What that means is, if there's $1 million exchanged on Hedera, there's only 1/100 of a cent spent for that. So what that means is great for the user, but the network is not really making a lot of money. And so the more tokens that come into circulation, it's also going to be very hard to push that price up. And that's essentially what we have seen. That's the all-time chart that we see here on CoinMarketCap. Yes, there was a big pump, 2021 bull run, but ever since then, as we can see, it's quite flat. So I'm guessing that that's also due to the fact that there's more tokens in circulation, fees are flat, so in the long run, it must be very difficult to push that price up unless there's a lot of speculation on it. I guess that's my final point on this. In any case, technology sounds amazing, so I'm still quite bullish on Hedera anyways.
Yeah, same. Real world assets are going to be big, I think, and we will see how Hedera adopts them and which projects go across. So we'll probably come back to it at some point.
Yeah, and we'll jump straight into Pax Gold. So Pax Gold is tokenized gold. They have the same amount of gold as tokens, so they're keeping that in custody. They're heavily regulated, and yeah, they're quite trustworthy, in my opinion. We did review that, some of the partners that they've got protecting the physical gold is Brinks. We've seen this company also in partnership with other crypto projects, one of them being Courtyard, and yeah, a very interesting project. Back in the day, you could buy gold, like physical gold, directly on Paxos. I'm not sure if that's gone now, but there was this process that if you wanted to buy the token itself, you had to go through the platform and do KYC. Same for the physical gold. I'm not sure if they're still doing that, if the model has changed and they're just keeping the gold reserves for the token. But in any case, it is a project that's very specialized and very focused on one thing. So still super keen on this project. And yeah, in terms of price action, is directly correlated with what's happening with gold. So if the price of gold goes up, then the price of Pax Gold will also go up. So we see this in the past, what is it, like 2 months? It's gone up from about $2,000 an ounce to 2,400. So in crypto terms, doesn't seem like a huge jump, but remember that this is a real world asset. So things in the real world don't move up or down as much as it happens in crypto.
Yeah, in some ways, this is actually a much simpler instrument than a lot of the ones we review on this channel. It's gold. Everybody knows what gold is. They're not making any more of it. It comes from the ground, and now it's on the blockchain. So I think it's probably something that, if you wanted to diversify, this would be one of the things that you could rely on. This is kind of the bonds of the crypto market, maybe something to keep a bit of that steady reliability in your portfolio. So yeah, I think this is a good one to hold. I think I'm still confident in that decision, and we'll see what happens to the price of gold. But based on the max chart here, it's going to be going up a small amount. Like when you see a chart like this in the crypto world, you think, okay, there's a bit of volatility, but actually in terms of price, we're not actually talking about huge amounts here, and the price movements are a lot more subtle than what we're used to, which is nice.
Yeah,
nice
absolutely.
And calm.
Yeah, some people might see this chart as quite boring, actually. So it's yeah. Now, why do we always review these tokens? Why do we review 3 and then choose one to hold? Because it's important to diversify. So one thing that we start in is, was his choice right? Was it right to choose Helium, Hedera, and Pax Gold as 3 tokens for our hypothetical portfolio? So if we were to put an equal amount spread across these 3 tokens, and we compare that with Bitcoin, we would have actually outperformed Bitcoin. So what you see on screen, the orange line is the Bitcoin price action. The blue line would be our own mini portfolio, mini crypto index that we've created with these 3 tokens. So not necessarily a lot of gains, but Bitcoin since, let's say, March 2024 would have performed like a 5% gain compared to a 15% gain. So it's 3 times better performer, this group of tokens, than Bitcoin alone. So really important to see things in perspective and be able to compare it. And it would have been a good choice. We saw that the charts overall were quite red, not great movement on Hedera or Helium. But if we would have diversified and put equal amounts, it could be like $50 on each of them, so $150, we would have outperformed Bitcoin by 3 times.
Yeah, this is a great metric to have. I'm looking forward to doing this a bit more in the coming weeks. So we can do this for reviews like this of the last 3 tokens. We can also, I think, build these for more long-term results. And maybe we could look over the last 6 months of holds. Maybe we could pull up a fund for that. So I think we're going to be doing more of this and hopefully getting some feedback from the community as well. So if you want to get involved, then let us know, because there's going to be some community aspects to this in the future. I think this is going to be a good feature as part of Hold Flip Dump.
Yep, absolutely. Apart from that, that's all on my side. Really interesting to see that not necessarily we were right, but it would have been a really good choice. And once again, not financial advice. This is not an investment we've made, not an investment that we're necessarily going to be making, but it's just for learning and research purposes. So hope you learned something. And yeah, just like Robin said, let us know if you want to get involved with this sort of thing, because we're going to be doing a lot of this type of analysis moving forward. So yeah, apart from that, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.